What up, guys? Jason Gavin here with Christmas Lights and ChristmasLights.io, and we are going to have a good time tonight and learn lots. Hopefully you will learn a lot about how to quote profitably and make money for the Christmas light season, right? Because there's no use to doing a lot of work if you're not going to make any money. So tonight I'm going to break down quoting and how to quote and things to look at while we are quoting, so that way you will be able to know what you need to do for your Christmas light business. If you're not in a Christmas light business and you're thinking about it, I get this asked question all the time. When should I join? And I would say now is the time to start learning about Christmas lights. And I've got a lot of information on this channel. I'm kind of doing a series right now. About 3 weeks ago, I did it on, all the stuff you need, your insurance, all that. Last week, I showed you how to do the Christmas lights, on how to make your plugs, your males and your females. And then now I'm going to show you and teach you how to quote so you're profitable, because I want you to make money. I understand that I'm going to get a lot of people of, you can't get that in my area, and I will call bull crap, because only reason why you can't get something in your area is because you do not ask for it, right? You can't get it if you don't ask for it. So how's everybody doing? Give me some thumbs up. I'd appreciate any, if you subscribe to the channel. I talk all about Christmas lights. I'm going to start talking all about permanent lighting. I went to permanent lighting, and I'm going to start installing permanent lighting. I'm going to start teaching more permanent lighting, because I do believe that the Christmas lights things will be coming more and more to permanent lighting. I don't think Christmas lights will go away, because I think that people will still love the Christmas lights feeling. And so that's kind of how I am and where I believe it is. And so that's what you got to do to grow your business. And so if you want to grow your business and be awesome like Daniel, that's what you should be doing. His first year, he did $170-some thousand, and he's almost doubled it for this year. How is you take action, right? And you ask for those higher end pricing, and it's amazing of what you can do when you do that. And so with that, I'm going to kind of go over a slideshow, so that way it's just not me talking and not having anything to follow along. So I will be talking on along with the slideshow. If you are listening to the podcast, if you didn't know, I do have a podcast for Christmas lights. You can check it out. You can go to ChristmasLights.io/podcast, and you can find all my podcasts that I've done. And so that's kind of where we are going to be at. Now, when we're talking quoting tonight, I'm not actually going to go in depth of how to measure and do all of that. I will probably do it next week. But also, if you don't know, I will be on another show tomorrow night where we're going to talk about all kinds of different things about the drawings and stuff on Friday night at 5 o'clock. It'll be 6 o'clock my time, 6 o'clock Eastern time, and it's with Ron Roby and Joseph Murphy and Mike Zuzak and myself. We're all going to be on a show that on Friday night, so that might be something that you can get lots of tips and tricks, and not just from one person, but you can kind of see, I'm sure there'll be some bantering going on and a good time, so you definitely may want to check that out when we do that. So let's get this show on the road. I see we got one person commented. That's all I've gotten so far. Please give me some comments. If you got questions about Christmas light business, anything part of it, marketing, how to hang the lights, how to do any of that stuff, put a comment down there. Let me know, so that way I can know, answer your questions, because my goal is to help you grow your business. It might not even be about Christmas lights. If it's just marketing in general, put your questions down in there. And even if you're watching the replay, put your questions down there. I come through all of my questions and I try to answer every question, so that way you get your information. My goal is to help you get to $100,000, right? My goal is to help 1,000 people get to $100,000, and I've helped several. I mean, right here, Daniel did $170,000 his very first year doing Christmas lights. So that's my goal of helping you grow your business. I don't want you to have a business that's a job, right? That you don't make no money. I want you to have a business that you are profitable, that you make lots of money, that you can have time freedom, you can have financial freedom by having a business. That's the purpose of a business. A business is not something that we slave over, that we have to not make money. And so that's the reason why I am on talking about profit. And so profit is definitely not a bad word. So we're going to be talking about quoting and profitability for Christmas lights. So the importance of quoting and being good quoting is that you stay in business. A lot of times people don't understand about their cost, and they don't understand how to do business. They don't know what it costs them to run their business. They have no clue what they are doing in business. And so I just seen Tactical put in here. Tactical, he's come to my classes. They're great people. Him and Bonnie and Chris and Bonnie, and they're going to do $500,000 in Christmas lights, which is freaking amazing. And I believe it 100%. To do $500,000 in Christmas lights is just amazing. I don't care who you are. And so do they have cheap people around them? Sure they do, because everybody has cheap people around them, but they're not cheap. And that is the importance of what we need to do to be able to grow this business. So it ensures that we cover that in cost of material and labor. We'll kind of go over all of these expenses, right? What does it cost you to run your pressure wash or your Christmas light business? We're going to help you maximize profits and avoid unexpected losses. A lot of times we don't know that our insurance is going to go up, or our workers' comp is going to go up $20,000 or $30,000. I've had a guy that had a workers' comp that went up over $35,000, or that we're getting a tax bill of $75,000 unexpected tax bill. And so how do we avoid these things so that way we can stay profitable and make money and not go out of business? Because the goal is how can we make more money so that we can grow our business, so that way we're going to get the clients, and this is what we're trying to do here for you. So cost, a lot of times people are like, well, it only cost me $2. I can get it for $1.79. Well, I can get it for $1.68. Well, I can, and that's all it cost me, that and a little bit of gas. And that's the biggest bull crap ever. If you think that's all that it cost you is just $1.50, $2 for the parts, you are nuts, right? You're literally nuts. You're crazy. And so you don't even know at that point what it cost you. So what all does it cost, right? The materials, the timing, all of that stuff, right? All of the materials, all the materials, which in generally, I usually say costs around $2 a foot. It could be up to a little bit higher, $2.50. You can get it a little bit cheaper if you go with a crappier bulb or whatever. If you nickel and dime and you try to buy from here, there, and everywhere, then that's a way that you can get it a little bit cheaper. So it's important that you buy your materials from christmaslights.io/L or lights, because it helps me out, and you're getting a good deal. It's a great place to buy lights. So I just had to throw that in there as we're talking about it. But this is talking about all our clips, all our males and females, all our extension cord, all our bulbs, all our lights, right? Everything, because a lot of times we don't realize that we use way more extension cord than what we think that we should use, right? A lot of times we're like, if I sell 1,000 lights and they give me a roll of 1,000, that's probably not going to be enough, because it takes a lot of extension cord that we don't know that it's going to take for our business. Next is the labor cost. How much does it cost you to bring on team members. Not only that you got to pay their wage, you got to pay workers' comp, you got to pay payroll tax, you got to pay, they're going to break more stuff. It's going to take them longer to install, so how much does it cost you in labor to get a job done? I know some people do it by the foot, some people do it by the hour. Just depends on how you want to run your business. I know some people that do Christmas lights, they do it $2 per foot, and whoever's on the job's got to cut the $2 up, right? It's between those two. So on average, the average house is 150 feet. It's like 160, but on average, it's 150 feet. So 150 feet times 2 is $300, and you can do 4 houses a day. Those guys can make pretty good money with a 2-man crew making $2 a foot, right? And so that's something that we can do to do it. Some people might only charge $1 a foot. So now we're getting really cheap. And so you're going to have labor, but it's going to still cost you workers' comp. It's going to cost you payroll tax. It's going to cost you all of those things for your business to be successful. And next we got, equipment cost, right? How much is your ladders and your goats and your pitch hopper and your cougar paws and your equipment and your vehicles and your trucks and all of those things, right? How much does that cost you? The insurance, the car insurance, all of the things that cost a part of equipment, and then maintenance of that equipment, right? We got to maintenance it so that way it doesn't break down. And then overhead costs, right? The costs that are not directly with the install, but if you have a business which has a shop, utilities, insurance, admin costs, someone answering the phone, someone sending out quotes, someone making sure stuff is getting done, right? All of these things are in your cost to make sure that you're making money. And this is how I come up with the $8 to $12 a foot. Yes, I do teach $8 to $12 a foot because I want you to be successful. And some people will say, well, I'm going to fail right out of the get-go. Well, you're probably right with that mindset. And so you got to remember that your overhead costs you, your marketing materials, your sales teams. It's essential to allocate a portion of overhead cost to installation to accurately. So if you know all of these numbers, you can break it down and say, I did 100 installs, right? I did 100 installs this year, and I spent $20,000. Now we can break that $20,000 into how much does it cost you per each one at that point. And $20,000 is probably pretty cheap time we talk about insurance, we talk about our website, our marketing stuff, our CRMs, our $400 jobber CRM, right? All of that stuff is going to cost money, and that's going to cost money because it just costs money. Everything costs money. And if you don't know, it's cost a lot more money here recently than in the past. Because when you go to McDonald's, your cheapest meal there is $10 versus $5 or $6. So everything goes up in your phone. Everything is part of cost of business. So there's a couple different pricing strategies, right? Price per linear foot is one. And this is the way usually I teach of figure out how many feet you have, and you're going to put it on as a $8 to $12 a foot. If you're just starting out and you're not comfortable going to just start out at $8 a foot, that's a good place that you will make profit. I'm not in the business of putting up Christmas lights for free. There's too much risk of falling off the roof to do this stuff for free. And guess what? There is at least somebody every year that falls off the roof. And it's not cheap when you go to the hospital. I promise you, especially if you don't have insurance or you have a high deductible, it's going to cost you a lot of money when you fall off the roof. And that's why we want to charge to make sure we're not getting, I would much rather do 100 jobs than 500 jobs, right? Because the chance of me falling off of 100 jobs is way less than me falling off of 500 jobs, right? My percentage goes up tremendously of chance of falling off of a roof doing 500 jobs, or my employee falls off a roof, right? I don't want my employee to fall off a roof either. So them are two things I don't want to happen. And I don't want it to happen to you either, because that is very bad to do that. So it's pretty easy to do the foot. I teach the trees by foot, how tall they are. I teach all of that of foot and per foot. And so this is an easy way to do it. Again, we're shooting for $8 to $12 a foot. I know people are getting $14, $15 a foot. You just got to ask for it. It's not really difficult. You just got to ask for it. And then you got packages. If you know that your average house is 160 square feet or 160 lights, you can say, hey, package A is this, package B is that. I don't know too many that do this, but I do know some. It's all right as long as you're making money, but you just got to be careful on these doing packages. Now, I do packages, as in package A is the front roof, package B is a wreath, package C is some ground stake lighting, and I'm going to add different things. And when you're bidding this stuff, make sure you add everything to your quote. Don't put, you're going to do lights on the columns. You're going to do the ground lights. You might do some trees. You're going to quote it everything. Even if they just call for the house, you're going to quote it for everything. Your goal is to send a $3,000 to $4,000 quote to every job, because what happens when you send a $3,000 to $4,000 quote to every job, you'll likely have an average ticket of about $2,000. You won't have an average ticket of $2,000 if you're only sending a $1,500 to $2,000 average ticket for every house. Because again, every house is only about 150 to 200 feet linear feet. So 200 feet at $800 is only $1,600, right? So if that's all you quote them, and you don't quote the reef for $300 to $600, you don't quote each column, you don't quote the ground lighting, you don't quote that stuff to get us up to the $3,000 to $4,000, you're not going to get the $3,000 to $4,000. And that's how we're able to get our average ticket up a lot higher. So some things, that reason why I might move from 8 to 10 to 12 to 15 to $20 a foot is, how hard is this roof, right? If this sucker is 12, 14 and it's sitting there like this, and it's really hard, I'm going to go up in my price, because it's a lot harder for me to do. I might have to rent a lift. I might have to do different things for me to be able to do this install safely, because again, I want to do it safely. The location, how far is it away? Is this job an hour away, that if you get a callback, that it's going to take you 2 hours to go get this callback? So I'm going to raise my prices on locations of it also. And then market, right? Are we talking about in October, or are we talking about November, the week before Christmas? Because those are going to be two different markets. The one, I'm still going to be at $8 a foot in October, but when we get the week of Thanksgiving, I might be $10, $12, $15 a foot. And a lot of this is where a lot of people screw up at, is they don't look at how busy they are, and they'll be booked into December, and it's like, bro, you just lost a lot of money. You should have raised your prices as you get closer to Thanksgiving. If you're already booked out past Thanksgiving and it's only November 1st, you need to do one of two things. You need to hire another crew, or you need to jack your prices up a lot, so that way the customers you do get will make it worth your time and while. And so that's how you got to look at that. Consider the complexity, location, which we hit on that, and then add a multiplier discount based on specific factors to ensure that we remain profitability, right? It's important that we are profitable, because profitability is what makes you grow your business and makes you able to keep growing your business and not fail. Because the last thing I want you to do is fail. Failing is not something that's an option, right? We do not have that in our vocabulary of failure. So the quoting process, the first thing we need to do is gather the customer's information, right? We need to get all the information. We need to also pre-qualify. In the busy season, the week of November or of Thanksgiving, if you've done your marketing, you do all the things you're supposed to do, and you've been doing this for 2 or 3 years, you will literally get 100 leads a day the week of Thanksgiving. And so you got to be able to go through all of those leads to to be able to get the good leads. So you got to pre-qualify them, right? You're going to tell them, hey, our average is $1,500. Our packages start at $1,500. Do you want me to quote your stuff out? And most of the time they're going to be like, yep. Or they're going to say, hell no, you're crazy. There ain't no way I'm going to pay $1,500 for a Christmas site. Your average ticket might be $2,000. You never know what you might be at. So that's what we are looking at of this here. Next, we're going to either visit the property in person or online to figure out what we need. Christmas sites, I do all online quotes. Most people I know do online quotes. There is some people that do in-person quoting. That can be up to you. If you have a tight area and you live close to that tight area, maybe you do online. That will set you apart from your competition. My service area was an hour north of me. That's where all the rich people are. It's an hour north of me, 45 minutes. There's no way I can do all of the quoting and everything while I'm up there trying to get work done, and just the way to do it. Calculate the cost, see how many feet is it going to take, all of that kind of stuff, and then present the quote and go get your deposit, right? We're going to ask for a 50% deposit up front, so that's what's going to get you on the schedule. If you want to be on my schedule, you got to pay a 50% deposit, and then the day after the install, I will invoice you and for the rest of for the 100% of the bill. So that way, the good thing about doing the 50% up front is that gets the credit card on file, and then the day after we will bill the credit card if you don't pay it the other way. We'll send you the invoice because we want to send people the invoice, because sometimes they will actually give you tips if you send it, versus if you don't send it and you just bill it automatically, you may not get a tip at the end of it. And yes, people will tip you even in Christmas light business. It is pretty crazy how people will tip you even in a Christmas light business. So these are things that you want to do to make sure that you're doing this. This one here is probably the best thing, that how you get your $8 to $12 a foot. You communicate. You answer the phone. You get them a quote quickly. You communicate what you're going to do. You communicate how you're going to do it. You communicate that you're on the way. You send a text that you're on the way. You send a text that you're at the house. You send, right? We communicate. Most people won't do that. They won't do any of it. And so the more you communicate, the better off they'll be. Like, man, Jason, he's really doing this, and this. And he did this, and this, and he kept me up to date every time. You would rather over communicate than under communicate. And then offer different packages. Like I said before, you got to put line items down of all the different packages, because if you don't offer it, they can't give it to you. And then give them the warranty, right? Hey, we will guarantee that your lights stay on. We will be here within one business day or 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever it might be, to have your lights up. Even if it's on Christmas, I will make sure your lights are working. And then provide a timeline. Again, communication. This goes back to communication. Hey, we're going to be here the week of. We're going to be here the day of. And then be responsible to answer any questions. Answer your freaking phone. This is a hard one for a lot of people to do, is to answer your phone. You got to answer your phone, or you don't do nothing. Communication is everything. Daniel just put that. And you know what? Daniel's he's probably knocking on the 400,000 door in year 2 of a Christmas light business, and we're still 3-4 months away from it, which is freaking amazing. But you communicate, and that's what happens when you communicate. Things get better. And then you need to see how your profit is, right? A lot of times it's not just one and done and see if we're done. So regularly review profitability and calculate profit margin on each job is essential for success. It allows to identify areas where costs can be reduced and profits can be maximized. The game of this is how do we make more profits? I know we're taught that profit's bad, but as a business owner, profits are not bad. Profits are what you need so that you can keep surviving and keep living. So you need to look at it. So one way is that you can save money is do a preseason buy, right? You can buy stuff in January and February, and you'll get the material a lot cheaper. That's one way. Number 2 is how fast can you install? Do you have all the steps that you're not walking back and forth to the truck 25 times because you forgot a clip and you forgot a mail and you forgot something else? So by using these techniques, and the reason why I teach the 25 steps to installing Christmas lights fast is so that way you don't forget the little things, because the little things is what takes you time that you are forgetting about, and that can hurt you, and that's going to hurt you in the long run. And then again, we want to upsell, right? We want to offer packages. Offer a $4,000 package every time, because the only way they can buy a $4,000 package is if you offer it. If you don't offer a $4,000 package, they'll never buy it, because they can't. So that's why it's important. And then control overhead costs. Regularly review and analyze your overhead costs, such as rent, utilities, insurance, right? I know a lot of times we just keep paying the insurance, but have it sent out every so often, so that way you can make sure that we're in check, that one, we have the right amount of insurance, and two, we're not overpaying for it. And so these are things that we can cause our expenses to go up that we're not paying attention to. Maybe our guys are stopping at the store every day and taking 20-30 minutes and getting gas. How can you make that better? One way I did it is I made them get gas on the way home, because I knew in the morning they would jack around and go get gas and go get everything and take an hour to get to the job, when it should only took them 30 minutes to the job. And you might be like, well, that's Jason, that's being an asshole, right? But here's the deal about it, right? If they take 30 minutes and there's 2 guys per truck and they're making $20 an hour, that's $20-$30 every day. Times that by 5, that's $100 just went out the door in profit that I lost right out the door, right? That just went bye-bye. And that's time that they could have been putting another house on or doing something that I could have made money. Yes, I'm about making money. That's what this job is about, is to make money. It is not to have fun and, be a hobby. If you want a hobby, then be a hobby. But I'm here to help you make money, and that's my main goal for you all. So the pricing is $8 to $12 a foot, right? There's no reason that you can't get $8 a foot. I understand that in my area you can't get that, and I disagree with that. I know I've heard people say you can't get this in Dallas. I've heard you say you can't get it in Texas. I've heard it said all these other places, and I can promise you I've got guys getting the $8 a foot in Dallas, Texas, right? I've got several of them, not just one, but I've got a couple of them, because it's not about getting 100. It's not about getting 3,000 customers for a lot of these. Now, could you go work? I had a conversation with probably one of the biggest Christmas light installers, and he was like, I don't know why you want to keep teaching all these people to do Christmas lights, and if he would come work for me, he can make money. And one of his main guys there made $150,000, and I'm like, you're probably right, but not many people want to be in that position, and they want to be able to take time off, and they want to be able to control their stuff. And so, does it cost you to run a business? Absolutely it does. But most people want to run a business, and they don't want to be told nowadays. In 2024, nobody wants to be told what to do. If you don't believe me, go out there and look for employees that want to be told what to do. Not many of them out there will do what you tell them to do. So that's why I'm doing this. So strategies and to improve profitability. Again, see where your profit is. In mentorship right now, the guys are looking at KPIs of where are they at? How much is my average ticket? How much stuff is costing me? What have I done? What do I need to do? Because that's how you are able to grow your business and be successful. My goal is to help you to be successful. And then again, thank you for watching. I'm going to ask any questions. If you guys got questions, I've got a couple questions on here already. But if you got some questions, put them up here in the comments so that way I can answer your questions, so you can help you grow your business. My goal is to help you grow your business. My goal is to help you grow your business. I want you to be a Daniel and get to $400,000. Daniel's going to get to $600,000. He's already at $400,000. He's going to get to $600,000 this year, right? Second year in, he's got to have to figure out how to get all this stuff up. That's what he's going to have to figure out. But again, you can visit my website at christmaslights.io. Go check it out. I've redone it all. Tell me what you all think about it. Go check it out. You can buy lights there, christmaslights.io/L or lights. I've revamped almost my whole website for Christmas lights. So go check it out and tell me what you think about it. I'd love to hear the comments. You can send it to me at you can send it to me at you can send it to me at Jason at my Facebook or whatever. And then I got a question of when is the next classes. So you can go check out, I think this is it. You can go on my Christmas site page. I don't actually have it up here. ChristmasSites.io/ you'll have to do the drop down for it, for the training, and that's where the training is in there. I don't have it. I don't know why I don't have it up here yet, but I will get it up here eventually. It'll probably be /T for training, so that way it makes it easy to do. So, Tactical put on here he's going to do $500,000 just in lights this year, which is amazing. Hey, talked to you a while back, bought the $1,000 worth of signs, used your affiliate link. I did 4 jobs this week. I made $1,200, and I have more. Got 5-star reviews. Awesome. Also too, that's awesome. That's what it's all about, right? That's how you get it. That's how you go out there and flip rocks. You go out there and put signs up, and it's amazing how things will happen for you. Can you talk a little bit about roof safety? I've never actually worked on roofs, and I'm scared of them. Well, good. Be scared of them. Don't get confident on them. That's how you get hurt. So one is when you're putting the ladder up, you want to be 3 rungs above the roof. So that's one. Make sure you have cougar paws on. If you've never been on a roof, cougar paws are definitely a must. If you're not comfortable on it, don't go get on these 12-12 peaks. Get on something like this here that isn't too bad. It's not too high, and you can get comfortable on it. Get the pitch hoppers. The pitch hoppers work amazing, and you can use the goat. It's got handholds, and like when I get on really steep stuff, I really like the goat because otherwise it scares the crap out of me otherwise. So those are the things that I would say about it. Always know where you are, and if you're not comfortable with it, don't do it. Because that's when you will get hurt. That's when you will fall off. If you're not comfortable up there, don't do something sketchy because it's not worth falling off of. When I first started my Christmas light business, I did 39 installs, and I did 38 of them on the from a ladder because I was scared to death of roofs. And the one that I did do, it was because the ladder wasn't tall enough. And so I had the cougar paws, but I didn't know how to use the cougar paws. And this was before the goat. This was before the Ridge Pro. This was before pitch hoppers. And I was scared to death. This was in 2014. And we ended up going and renting a big ladder because I couldn't get down to the peak or down to the edge because I was scared to death of it. I was 2 feet or 2 stories up, and we needed a 40-foot ladder to be able to reach it because the 28-foot wasn't cutting it. So, other than that, I was able to install all of them off of a ladder because I was scared to death of it. Now I'm not so bad, right? I've overcame my fears, and I'm able to do it a lot more. Communication is everything, and I agree 100% on this. Advertise that permanent lighting will run the temporary lighting out of business. Any thoughts? I don't think so. And on that one video, I'd be real careful about it because you never know who you're pissing off. Because I know who they pissed off on that one. So you got to be careful of what you do in that. I don't think permanent lights are going to take over Christmas lights. I don't think it is. I think you'll see a lot more of them. Here's the deal. Around here, you don't see much of it. Very rarely do you see anything around here or probably any of your locations. Now, if you live in Salt Lake City, you see them everywhere, right? Everywhere. I seen so many permanent lights in them right now that it was crazy how many people that have permanent lights. Now, in Christmas time, everybody does Christmas lights in Salt Lake City. Everybody don't do Christmas lights around here. In most cities, everybody do Christmas lights, but Salt Lake City does. But the permanent lighting, they're all starting to take the permanent lighting. They like the permanent light, so that's what they're doing. Some of them are. I did a 30,000 only working about 15 install days by myself. I love what you do. And so that's awesome. That's why I'm here to help you grow, right? So you can double that again, and now you're at 60,000 for 30 installs, right? For 30 install days, and you could probably do more than that, to be honest. $2,000 a day. that's only one job. There's no reason you can't do 2 jobs a day and get to $4,000 a day for that same amount of installs. So just think about raising your prices, especially if you're only doing this on the weekends or whatever. That means you only have so many slots to fill up if you're doing it part-time. If that means you can raise your prices more because you only have so many slots to get this done. So that's what you have to think about when you're doing this here. Hey, Daniel, can I ask you, are you solo or do you have employees? He went through tons of employees. He went through probably 5 or 6 employees during that season last year. He called me several times. I messaged him several times. One night it was a Saturday night. I believe it was a Saturday or Sunday night. And he's like, I ain't got nobody for tomorrow, or it was Saturday, I think. I don't got no money for Monday to put up lights, and I got all these lights to put up. And, in his accent, he's talking, and I was in Dallas, and it was like midnight, 1 o'clock there. So it was like 2 o'clock where he was at. And I was like, put an ad out on Facebook. And he did. And guess what? He found somebody to come put them up. And so I think he ended up going through like 3 or 4 guys he went through to be able to hit the $179,000. He only did 2 roofs of that. He only installed lights on 2 houses of roofs because he don't really care for them. So that's how you're able to do that. But here's what I'll tell you about here. It's not about installing the lights on the roof. That's the easy part. The hard part is getting the customers, right? And if you can't get the customers, it doesn't matter how good. You can be the best Christmas light installer out there. Like you can put every bulb right perfectly where it needs to go at, and you can do everything. But if you don't know how to do marketing, you will be broke and you will be out of business, because that's how this stuff works. Last year, Mr. Zach said last year was 2 started installing, 1 November. This year we have 70% return clients on the books for installs. October 1st will add more room for new clients and warm weather installs. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Excited for this year. Here we grow again. Going to run a bigger crew and hammer down on marketing. So Jason is a full-time fireman. So he works 56 hours a week as a firefighter. And he had some pretty cool news this week. He also does pressure washing. And he had his first $20,000 week, right? Not $20,000 a month, but a $20,000 week for pressure washing. There will always be demand for temporary. Look much better than permanent, and I would agree with that. No Christmas lights here in High Dollar, Florida. 2024 is going to be huge. And is there cheap guys in Florida? Absolutely there is. Is there cheap guys in Virginia? I know there is. But how do you get to $10, $14 is by asking about it, is about going in, knocking doors, flipping rocks, and making things happen. Daniel didn't get there by sitting on there and saying, you can't get $8 a foot, you can't get this, you can't get that. He got it because he asked and he hammered on it, right? He went into nursing homes and talked to the old people and said, you need Christmas lights here, right? And he got Christmas lights there because he went in there and just did it. He made it happen. This isn't about, I'm afraid to ask. If you're afraid to ask someone if they need Christmas lights, you won't ever get Christmas lights, right? So you've got to ask. You've got to go in there and make things happen. And when you make things happen, it's amazing how things will turn around for you and you will grow your business. That's the whole purpose of this, is how do you grow your business? It's not about, I can't get that in my area. I know that Daniel has $6 a foot. He's got 2 competitors that are charging $10 to $12 a foot, and they got competitors that are charging $6 a foot, $4 a foot in his area. How do I know? Because I know who his competitors are, and they talk about the $4 and $5 a foot people. Paul Gardner is one of his competitors, and he's in the $10 a foot, but yet there you got competitors out there that are only charging $4, $5, $6 a foot. And that's how you're able to set yourself apart of not being that guy. You could come in that guy and you're going to go out of business is what's going to happen. We got Tristan in the house. What's up? Is it worth merging permanent lights to my business? I had a few requests last year for permanent lighting. Already took your temp lighting course, and I would say yes, I would, because it's going to be more and more, especially if you love doing Christmas lights. It is a lot of fun. I've been doing the permanent lighting. I'm going to be having a permanent lighting class coming up here in May. There will be one in June, and I'll probably have one in September and October. But what I would tell you is a lot of times, like the people that I know will put that some of the people I know will go up and put up the temporary light for this year. And then in January and February and March, we'll install the permanent lighting, right? And they'll give them a discount because you bought the Christmas lights, and next year I won't charge you that much off of it. So I'll give them a break. So you'll still make money, but then you'll still have those lights, but that's one way that you can do to make sure that you get your Christmas lights back up. Already got my Christmas and July cards written up. Again, thinking ahead. If you haven't gotten your people closed, then you need to be sending Christmas cards in July. I know a lot of people have already got 70%. One of them already said they already have 70% closed. I know another person in here's got 87% people closed, or 85% of the people already signed up for next year. And that's the whole goal is how do I get these people signed up so that way it happens. If you book up with cheap jobs, you won't have time to hunt down the $9, $10, $12 a foot. Stand firm on your prices. And here's the deal, guys. Let's think about this. If you got $6 a foot and you got 100 jobs, or if you got 100 jobs at $10, let's say $10 a foot, would you rather have 100 jobs at $10 a foot, or would you rather have jobs at $6 a foot? Because again, each house is an average of, let's say, 150 feet. So would you rather have, let's just say average ticket of the $10 a foot's probably going to be close to $2,500, but we'll just say $2,000. And the guy at $6 a foot, his average ticket is going to be about $750, but I will give you $1,000. So would you rather have $200,000, or would you rather have $100,000? Me personally, I'd rather make $200,000, do half the work, make twice as much money. I've got to buy half the supplies. So that's what I'm talking about, of why we want to not go after the $6 a foot, the $7 a foot. And yes, you can get $8, $9, $10, $11, $12 a foot out of these Christmas lights. And I know it's crazy, and I know a lot of times it blows our mind, but it still blows my mind. It blows my mind that someone will pay that much for Christmas lights. When I see somebody's got a nice Christmas light display and they've showed me a picture of it and they spent how much ever, I'm just like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. How aren't they crazy? And yes, they are crazy, because you got to be a little crazy to be able to spend that kind of money for it. How the hell do you make money on $3 a foot? I kind of understand one place where Utah, the Salt Lake City, they have a lot of these. They have two of the major guys are out of Utah, and one guy, they install thousands of them. And so what I would say about it is the roofs are not hard at all. That's the one reason. They're not on big roofs. They're not even on this steep of a roof, right? They're on this here type of roof where you can walk these things. It takes 30 minutes, 45 minutes a piece, and that's how they're doing it. It only has one little pitch. It don't have all these hips and all this crap that you got to go on, right? That's one way that they're able to do the $3 a foot and still make profit and make money, because otherwise there is no profit or money in it if you're doing it that way. And most of the times those people will go out of business, but the ones that are doing it that cheap have been doing it that cheap, and they won't raise their prices because they're scared to death they're going to lose half their business. I don't get it. I feel greedy at $8 a foot. What's greedy about it? That's my max. It ends up being $200 to $300 an hour. The houses around here are big. So you need to raise your prices. Don't feel greedy. It's not greedy. It's a mindset of money that you don't understand right now. And I know you might not agree with me, but if you're only making $20 an hour, $8, $200 to $300 sounds like a lot. But I'm going to tell you something. $200 to $300 an hour is the low end now. Do I still teach people to try to shoot for $200 to $300? Yeah, but I'd rather you shoot for $400 or $500 an hour, because everything costs more. The lights cost more. The insurance costs more, gas costs more, food costs more, everything's went up. And so don't be afraid to not ask for the $8, $9, $10 a foot, because you will find out that people will pay it and they will be happy about it. And in fact, a lot of times the people that pay the most are the happiest. They're not the ones that are nickeling and diming you, right? The ones that are nickeling and diming you, or the $8 a foot or $7 a foot, is because they can't afford it, right? They make say they make $60,000 a year. They can't afford $1,000, right? But if someone's making $150,000, $200,000, 10 grand ain't nothing. 10 grand's the same as $2,000 for the poor person. So that's why you got to go out there and ask for it. And that's the only way you're going to get it, is asking for it. That's how I see it. I would never spend $2,000 on Christmas lights, but I guess I'm not my customer. And that's exactly. Do you live in a $500,000 house? Do you drive a Mercedes? Do you making $200,000 a year? If you're not, then you're not your customer, right? And most of you are not your customer. I'm not my customer because I'm still, I would have never, when I started doing Christmas lights, I would have never, I complained the whole time my wife wanted me to put Christmas lights up, a $10 strand of Christmas lights up. Now I just bought a bunch of permanent lights. Now I'm going to have 2 sets of permanent lights on my house. I'm going to have a set of regular Christmas lights on my house because I never took them down. And so I'm going to have all kind of lights on this house because I want to see which system works the best and which one's going to go FUBAR and is it going to hold up to it. That's why. And I like lights. Lights are cool. The more I understand my client, I understand why they pay $12 a foot. Time is money, and this comes with the risk. That is the biggest thing, right? Time is money, because they want to go spend time with their family and not spend time with them trying to get these lights up. Is there DIYs out there? Absolutely there is, and they're never going to be your customer. But there's plenty of people out there that will pay $12 a foot. And here's the thing I love about this with Tristan, right? See, Tristan's in an area where a lot of people I've got people in his area that are doing it for $4, $5, $6 a foot, and he's getting $12 a foot because he's asking for it. And again, he can get one customer when they're getting 3 customers. They have to get 4 or 5 customers to make the same amount of profit as Tristan does with one customer. And that's where you got to look at this, right? It's not about getting all of these customers. That's a bunch of problems. And I would guarantee you, out of those 4 or 5 customers that you have to get to make the same amount of profit that Tristan did, is you will have twice as many headaches, because you're going to have more callbacks. You're going to have everything more when you got 5 versus 1. And you might say, well, how are you coming up with that math? Because Tristan, for his 150 lights, are going to be 150 lights. For you to do 4 jobs at $6 a foot, that means you got to do a lot more, because you've eaten up all your profit on your bulbs and all that kind of stuff, and your gas and your employees and all of that kind of stuff. And yes, convenience cost, and guess what? And people pay. Even if food is going up, people still go out to eat. Why do they go out to eat? Because it's convenience. They don't want to do dishes. They don't want to, they ain't got time for that. They're master delegators and want a great experience, especially at the time of the year. Exactly. I gasped when my 6,000 quote got approved with a deposit, right? It's like when you send it, you're like, there's no way in hell that'll go. And then it comes through and you're like, holy crap, someone just paid $6,000 worth of lights, which is awesome. I love it. That's amazing. That's hand clapping right there, right? That's worth the hand clap right there. Oddly enough, the upper middle class was most of my customers. The real wealthy multimillionaires team to turn me down. And I would agree with that. Your customers are going to be in that like my place is about 300 to about about $800,000, $900,000. You get over that million mark, they're too much. They got too much money, and they won't buy from you. Trust me, the CEOs don't want to be DIYs, and they don't want to be DIY. They don't want to be hassled with it. They're already busy, and that is 100% truth right there. Again, they don't want to be there. Again, go check out my website, christmaslights.io. If nothing else, it helps me with SEO. Go check it out. I've changed it up a bunch. I added a permanent light page. I've added, it's all different. The last time you've seen it, it's probably going to be a lot different than the last time you've seen it. My assistant has done an amazing job on it. And so she changed it all up and made it look a lot better. So go check it out. If nothing else, it helps me out, and I appreciate it. And if you need any Christmas lights, definitely go buy them. Permanent lights, I am going to have some permanent light training coming up and Christmas light training coming up. I'm trying to get all the dates done, but it's definitely something that would help me out for me. I believe the service is worth $12 to $15 a foot, to be honest. And you can get that, even at $8 a foot. I'm happy with $8 a foot. Anything lower than that, I'm not happy with you, because I believe you can get more than that. Is there people out there always going to be cheap? Sure there is. But cheap people isn't where you want to be at. Cheap people is, and here's the other thing that will help you sell. I like Tristan putting this here, right? Because if you don't believe the service is worth $12 to $15 a foot, the customer won't believe that it's $12 to $15 a foot. Right? So that is why it is important that you have to believe that it's worth $12 to $15 a foot. Tristan put it perfectly here. I believe that the service is worth $12 to $15 a foot. When you believe the service is worth $12 to $15 a foot and all the stuff that you do for them, it's amazing how it will help you understand, and you will believe it. And when you believe it, your customers will believe it. If you don't believe you're worth $12 to $15 a foot, you won't never get it. I promise you, you will never get $12 to $15 a foot if you don't believe that you're worth it. And that's how it comes down to. I'm not saying anything different. I'm just saying, if you don't believe that you're worth it, nobody else will. You will sit there and stutter. You will say stupid stuff. You will give them a price, and you'll be the first one to talk because you don't believe it. And here's the deal: if you don't believe it, it takes time to make this happen. This doesn't happen overnight. So if you don't believe it, start reading your reviews. Because when you reread your reviews, I don't care what your competitors' reviews are. I said read your reviews, right? Because when you read your reviews and you look at how these people are talking about you, and you did this great, amazing customer service, and the house looks amazing, then you will start believing it. And this is sales 101. If you don't believe in your product, nobody else will. I heard on a podcast a couple months ago that the person was selling these high dollar pans, and he was a great salesman when he came over, and he couldn't sell these high dollar pans to save his life. Like, he couldn't do nothing. And then he bought a set of the high dollar pans himself, and he started using them, and then he blew up. It was amazing at how many he was able to sell because he believed in the product. And if you don't believe in the product, it doesn't matter at that point. You will never get those high-end customers. I see a course that's labeled Advanced Christmas Lights. Is there any different than last year's course? Yeah, it'll be different. So it will be different. Homozy said the winners write history, and that is 100% truth right there. So with that, I know we're at 9:53. Every Wednesday night, I will be live on here. And so it'll be about Christmas lights. I am kind of keeping a series unless somebody else comes on of, what you need to do, how to do it. Tonight we went over, profit in that. Next week, I'll probably go over how to design and stuff like that. I want to break it down so that way each week you kind of learn something, and that way you will take it and just take the small bites, learn, and put it into action, right? Start putting things in action. So the more stuff you put in action, the more likely you are to grow your business and be successful. Prove it to yourself and keep doing it. And a lot of it is the little things, and it's consistency, right? Consistency is what grows your business. There's no special thing that's going to grow your business other than consistency. So be consistent and go out there and start closing jobs for next year or for this year. And you'll be surprised at the money you'll be able to make this year, that you can buy Christmas presents for your spouse and your kids, and you can put money away. You want to know what's awesome about Tristan? Tristan is like 24 years old, and he's looking to buy his third rental property. That's awesome, right? That is awesome. He's been able to run a pressure washing and Christmas light business, and he's going to buy his third property this year. So that is why I want you to do this, so that you can grow your business, because this is talking about long-term wealth and stuff. Guess what? That's how you do it. And you might say, well, I'm too old for that. You're never too old. I've got a 60-some-year-old guy that does this stuff, right? We got Rick Moosey and all kinds of old people. Hey, one last question. Best day to put out yard signs? Normally it's on Fridays. If your signs get picked up, usually it's picked up by city workers, and they don't work on Saturday and Sunday. And so most people are out shopping and wanting to spend money on the weekend. And so that is the most critical, is to get them out on Friday so they sit out Saturday and Sunday. And most times people will call you on Monday. That's just usually how they do it. They'll take a picture of the sign, and then they'll call you on Monday. Or sometimes they do call you right then and there. But that is definitely one way to do your signs. It's coming. So that's awesome. So again, go check out christmaslights.io. If you got any questions, ask them in the comments even after this video is over. I'll probably be doing some more videos off of that. But other than that, I hope you all have an amazing week, and we'll talk at y'all later.